Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video I'm going to show you two different ways to make shadow fonts which you can cut with your Cricut machine. A shadow font is where you've got a word or a letter and then it has kind of a background of that same letter as a border around it, creating a shadow effect just like this. They can be really useful for adding extra colours to your designs or making letters stand out on your background colour, and you can also use them as the first step of the process for creating 3D mandala letters which look like this. Now, Design Space doesn't let you add the shadow layers to every single font that you have installed. But what it does do is it has some fonts included in the Cricut Access subscription which come with that layer, so you can use the ones that already exist. So I'm going to show you how to do that first using the fonts that are already in Design Space, and then after that I'm going to show you how you can add shadow layers to any font which you own. So any font that's installed on your computer. And that's not going to be done all in Design Space. We're going to use another website to do that, but don't worry, it's completely free and I'll show you every step of the way. But first, let's start with the shadow fonts that are already in Design Space. So I'm going to go into text and type out a word. Let's just go for hello. So at the moment this is just a one layer font. You can see it doesn't have that shadow outline around the edge. I need to change the font, so I'm going to double click into it and select my word and then click into the font drop down at the top. To find the shadow fonts, which Cricut calls multi-layer fonts, click into the tiny word that says filter to the right of the search box and then change this to multi-layer. And now this is just going to show you all of the multi-layer fonts. Now some of mine are showing as grey, I think because I've used them before or because I've downloaded them, but you can look through and see all of the fonts that are in here. And you should be able to choose any one of these, but one that I particularly like is called Birthday Cakes, and this is included in the Cricut Access subscription. So let's click on that. Alright, so this has changed my word to this new font, but at the moment it's still only one layer. However, if you look in the layers panel on the right, you can see that there's an additional letter underneath, and that's in black. And this is hidden at the moment, which I know because the eye icon has a line through it. If I click that line, then it puts that layer on, and now it's two different layers. So if I can change the color of that, you can see this is actually two separate layers. I'm going to click on the image and then press ungroup at the top of the layers panel so that I can show you how it's working. So if I drag that first hello on, you can see we've got the background layer, which is the shadow layer, and then the hello on top is just that little bit smaller, so it creates the shadow effect. And now that you've got this, you can do really fun things. So for example, I could select both the layers, go down to the bottom and press slice, and that's going to cut them out from each other. So now I have three versions, and that means I've got this, which is just that thin border. So we've turned those two layers into something new. And if you're going to be making the mandala letters like I showed you at the beginning of this video, this is the first step you'd need to do to get that outline, which you can then add all of the images and patterns inside. If you'd like to learn how to do that, keep watching to the end of this video and I will give you some tips. So that was using the fonts that are already in Design Space, but what about if you've got a font which you own, which you really want to add the shadow layers to, but you can't do it from within Design Space? Well, there is a website which will let you do it, and it's all free to use. The website is photop.com, and I'll put a link in the description of this video. This is basically like a free online version of Photoshop, but don't let that intimidate you because I'm going to show you everything you need to click to make those shadow layers. Alright, so I'm going to go into a new project by clicking New Project on the screen, and then I am going to change the width to 1500 and the height to 1500, and then that's set to pixels, so the drop down says px, and the DPI is set to 72, which is fine. Go ahead and click create and it's going to make a blank file for you. So here is my square. I need to enter my text to start with. So go down this list on the left hand side until you get to a capital letter T, and that is the text tool. So click on that and then click onto your box, and then you can type the word. It's going to appear really small by default, so we need to make it bigger. To make it bigger, click on the arrow, which is the top icon in the list on the left. It's called the Move tool. Make sure the box along the top, which says Transform Controls, is ticked, and that gives you this little bounding box around the edge. It's quite hard to see because it's small, but now I can click and drag the corner of that box to make my text bigger. As I'm dragging, I'm holding the Shift key down on my keyboard, and that's really important because it's going to keep it in proportion. If I just let go of the Shift key and now drag it, you can see that it's moving that all out of proportion, which is not going to look as good. But by keeping that Shift key pressed, it's going to make sure everything stays as it should. When you've made it nice and big, but make sure it doesn't go over the edge of the white box, press Enter on your keyboard, and now we have that resized. Next, we need to select our chosen font. You can click the text tool again, and then click into the text and click and drag to select it. And then similar to how it works in Cricut, you've got a fonts drop down on the top left, which has lots of different fonts in here. So there are loads to choose from in there, but it doesn't necessarily have the fonts that you have on your computer because this is finding them all online. So these fonts are what comes with Photop. It's not what you have on your computer. If you want to choose a font which you have on your computer to use, you're going to have to load it into Photop. I'll show you how to do that. So on a Windows computer, click into your Windows menu in the bottom and go to the Control panel. Click into where it says Fonts, and this is going to show you all of the font files which you have on your computer. So if you already know the font that you want to use, you can just go and find it, and then once you've found the one that you want to use, so I will choose, let's have a look, I want a nice swirly font. I will go for this one, Artist Regular. So once you've chosen one, right click on it and press copy. Then find somewhere on your computer where you can save this file to make it easier to load into Photop. So I've just made a new folder just to paste that into. And to paste it, all I did was I right clicked and then hit paste. And that's put that font file into this folder for me. You could put it anywhere you want, for example on your desktop or in your My Documents folder, or you can make a new folder like I did. Now I can go back to Photop, and I'm going to drag over my text again and go into that font drop down. And this time I'm going to press Load Font. So I'm going to click on that and then navigate my way to where I saved that font file just now. So here is my, my font file, and I'm going to double click on that. And then it's going to ask you if you want to load it, and you can also change your settings so that next time you load Photop, it will remember this font and you won't have to load it again. So I'm going to click OK to that, and then it's going to load. It might take a little while, but once that's loaded, you can then go into the menu, the font menu again, and search the name of your font, and now it will be there. So that is the font from my computer now in Photop. Okay, so now we can start adding the shadow layer. Photop works kind of similar to Design Space in that you've got your layers down the right hand side of the screen. So what we want to do is we want to make a copy of this hello. So we're going to duplicate it. Right click on the layer in the Layers panel and press Duplicate Layer. And now I've got another one here which says Hello Copy. For now, I'm going to hide that by clicking on the eye icon. And then I'm going to click down onto the one underneath. I'm going to put my mouse on the right hand side of the layer in the Layers panel and then double click. And that's going to bring up this menu for me. This is called the Layer Style menu. I'm going to look down this list until I see Color Overlay, and then I'm going to click on that. Make sure you click the word Color Overlay, don't just tick the box. If you just tick the box, it doesn't change the options that come up in the middle, and we want them to change because we need to choose the colour. So when you've done that, you can see it's turned my text to red, and I'm going to click into that red box and then look to where it says hex, and I'm going to select that number in there. It's 6 digits of letters and numbers, so I'm going to select that, right click and copy, because I'm going to need this same colour in a minute. I'm going to click OK, and then look down this list again in the layer style pop-up until it says stroke, and click that. Again, you want to make sure you click the word stroke, don't just click the box. Okay, so stroke adds a border around the edge, and then you can use the size to decide how big or how small you want your shadow layer to be. We need to make sure this colour is the same that we put on that colour overlay, and by default I think it is, but just in case you've changed that colour, I'm going to click into here, select the hex box and delete what's in there, right click and then paste and OK. And then press OK in this box. Now I've got my shadow layer, I want to just make sure that I'm happy with the width of it. So I'm going to turn on that top hello that we duplicated by clicking on the eye icon. If you decide you want your red layer, your shadow layer, to be more or less, you can just double click on that bottom hello, go into stroke and change it to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so now we need to save these two hellos as PNG files from Photop, which we can then upload into Design Space so that we can then resize it however we want it to be sized for our project. Now don't worry if you see things like you can see there's a tiny gap in the middle of the E where it hasn't filled in red, and also in between the H. We'll fix all of that in Design Spaces. It's much easier to do in there rather than try and do it in Photop. Okay, so I need to save both of these hellos as a PNG. To do that, click on the top one, and then up the top of the screen there's a little arrow which says PNG, and it says save selected layers as PNG. There is an SVG option next to it, but don't be tempted to click that because I've tried it and it doesn't save it properly, so when you try and upload it into Design Space it won't look right. We want to do it as a PNG, so just click on that. And that is going to save that first hello, so the black one, to my computer. I then want to click the second hello in the layers panel and do the same thing again. So I'm going to click that PNG button, and now that's going to save the red version. So if I just click these to open them, you can see what we've got. We've got the black one and the red one, and these have saved to my downloads folder. So now I can go back into Design Space, and I'm just going to hide these ones to start with. And now we need to load those two PNG files into Design Space. So go into Upload and then click Upload Image, and then navigate to your Downloads folder or wherever it was that the files saved. Or you can drag and drop in if you've got it open in a new window. So I'll do that. So let's do the first, oops. First you need to click Upload Image, and then I'm just going to drag that in, and that's the first one, the red one. Choose Simple for the image type, and then press Continue. Because we saved this as a PNG with a transparent background, we don't need to do anything else on this screen, so we can just press Continue. Make sure you save it as a cut image, and then press Save. We need to do the same thing for the other layer, so go into Upload Image, drag your other one in, click Simple, Continue. We don't need to do anything on this screen, so press Continue again, and then Save as a cut image, and press Save. Now I've got both of these in my recently uploaded image, so I'm going to click on both of them, and then press Insert Images. Now by default these are both showing as black, so you can't really see what it's doing at the minute. So I'm just going to change the colour of both of these layers, and then that'll make it easier to see. So at the minute these aren't lining up, we need to fix that. So drag a box around both of them, and then go into Align, Center, And that will put them directly one on top of the other. So now we have our two layers looking beautiful. But at the minute we've got this little gap in the middle of the E, which isn't going to look very nice when it's cut out. So we're going to fix that. I'm going to click the blue hello layer in the layers panel and then go down to the bottom and press contour. Contour lets you hide cut lines in a shape. So I'm going to click on that tiny gap in the E and also that gap in the bottom of the H, and that's going to hide them. So now when I close out of there, you can see those have gone. I think I'm going to keep the other gaps in the L's and the O's and the H, but equally you could hide them if that's how you prefer to work. So now this is my two layers and I can resize them. So the easiest way to do that is drag a box around them again to select both those layers, and then at the top of the layers panel press group. And now you can click and drag to resize, and it will resize them both in proportion, so you know that that top yellow layer is always going to fit perfectly on the blue layer. You can also use the width and the height box at the top if you want to set it to a certain size. And then just like we did at the beginning, if you wanted to cut the yellow out of the blue to give you just that blue outline, we can do that. We'll need to ungroup it first, so I've selected the group and just press ungroup, and then drag a box around the two layers, go down to the bottom and press slice. Just like it did with that Cricut font at the beginning, we now have three separate options, which has given us this complete cutout design. So again, you can use this as the basis for making mandala layered words. So I hope this has been helpful to show you how you can create your own shadow layers around any single font that you want to, and then open it into Design Space. This is actually a little bit of an introduction into layering and creating your own layered images. What's really fun is you can actually keep doing those steps in Photop to add more and more layers of different thicknesses, and then you can turn that into a layered design which looks like this, with all of the fun shadows around the edge in different colours. You can also do exactly the same technique to add layers to the outside of SVGs or images which you found. So for example, on this one you can see that I've added the layers to the outside. If you'd like to know how to do that, I have a training series available called Lovely Layering. This is a complete Design Space training course which teaches you how to design your own layered images from within Design Space and using certain other programs like Photop for those little extra bits that Design Space doesn't quite let you do. If you've ever wanted to design your own layered designs like the ones that you see online, this is the course that will teach you how to do it. There are currently 11 different lessons included, and each one teaches you how to make a different type of layered design. The Lovely Layering course is currently on sale for the rest of January 2021, so you can buy it for $27 instead of the usual price of $47. But be quick because that sale will be ending on the 1st of February. Here's a little bit more about what's included in the course, and I've put a link to it in the description of this video, which you can check out to find out not only more information but also how to purchase. So as I said, this course contains 11 different lessons, and each one is a different thing, a different layered design to make. Lesson 1 is kind of the thing that I think most people want to learn when they buy the course, and that's how to take an existing image or SVG and turn it into a layered design. So just like on the screen, you'll learn how to turn a standard one-layer image into one which is full of different layers and colours that you can then cut out from cardstock and layer together to make a gorgeous layered design. You'll master editing tools within Design Space such as Contour, Slice and Weld. And don't worry if you haven't used them before or if you're not quite sure how to use them, because all you need is included in the video lessons inside the course. Lesson 2 of Lovely Layering is how to add the shadow layers like we've just done, but how to stack them so that you get more than one at a time. Lesson 3 uses those same techniques, but it tells you how to load them to existing SVGs or images. So like this one on the screen, it shows you how to do it. And it is a little bit different to how we've just done it with the text, which is why this is a separate lesson inside the course. Lesson 4 is how to design your own shadow box scenes. So this is where you combine pre-made images to design your own themed shadow boxes. For example, this husky design. I'll show you some top tips for ensuring an effective 3D design that shows the layers perfectly, and then you'll also learn how you can cut it out to perfectly sit inside your box frame and how to stick it all together. Lesson 5 builds on that shadow box technique, and this time it's how to make a layered design but inside a shape. So I'll show you how to do it with this unicorn head design. I'll also show you how to turn your design into a light up shadow box where we've got LED strips behind it. So not only is this a designing course, but every single lesson also includes information and a video on how to assemble the finished design once you've designed it. Lesson 6 is how to make layered greetings cards. So together we'll learn how to make this dolphin design. For lesson 7, we're going to be designing a monogram letter with stencil shapes. So you can see here we've got the S letter with flowers and butterflies, and then first we'll design that so you could put any shapes you want inside this letter. It could be anything to match the person who you're making it for and what they like. We'll then turn this into a layered design to go inside a shadow box. Remember earlier how I said that cutting out that shadow layer using the slice tool is the first step to making your own layered mandala letters? Well, inside Lovely Layering, I'll show you how you can turn that into a 6-layer design like the one you can see here. So for this course, I show you how to make this floral design, but of course you can add whatever images and shapes you want to personalize your letters however you want to make them. Sometimes you might have an image which you want to make layered, but actually it's all one colour and one shape and it's just a silhouette image. Don't worry if that's the case, because you can still turn it into a layered design, and I'll show you how. So for this tutorial we take the dog silhouette you can see, and then we'll add an outline to it and add a mandala design in the middle, and then in Design Space turn it into a 4-layered design, all in different colours. Lesson 10 is how to design your own layered clocks, and I think these are really fun and they make excellent gifts for birthdays or Christmas for your family member and friends. So I'll show you how to make this sunflower design, but again you can make whatever type of clock you want. I'll also show you how to assemble the finished clock with a working mechanism once you've designed it and cut it out. Finally, we have lesson 11, and this is one of my favourites, and it's also a newer lesson. So this was something that was requested by members of the course, so I added it in at the end of last year. And this is how you can design word scenes, which is when you take a whole word and create an image layered design behind it, so that throughout each letter of the word you see different parts of the design. So in total, these 11 videos will teach you all the skills you need to master creating layered designs with your Cricut machine. You can get started now for just $27 in the limited time sale, which ends on the 1st of February 2021. So if you're interested in learning how to make your own layered designs, check out the Lovely Layering course by following the link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Design Space tutorials. And I'm also going to be releasing a new little introduction to my layering course soon. So if you subscribe, you will get notified when that goes live. Thank you for watching. Bye.